A helicopter that can fall out of the sky and still land safely like nothing ever happened. Meet the Zephyr, an uncrashable helicopter concept reshaping aviation, blending bold innovation with safety breakthroughs that could change flying forever. And here's where things get wild. For decades, helicopters have carried this unspoken fear. If something goes wrong mid-air, your options shrink fast. Engine failure? You rely on auto-rotation. Mechanical issue? You're suddenly fighting physics itself. There's skill involved, sure, but there's also risk, real, unavoidable risk. Now imagine flipping that idea completely. What if a helicopter didn't just manage failure, but actually survived it? That's the promise behind the Zephyr. Not improved safety, not better handling. Something far more radical. A helicopter designed to deal with total failure and still bring you down safely. And that changes everything. Because suddenly, flying isn't about reacting perfectly under pressure. It's about having a backup that doesn't rely entirely on human reflexes. Think about that for a second. Would you feel more confident stepping into a helicopter knowing it has a built-in safety net? This isn't just innovation. It's a shift in how we think about aviation risk altogether. But wait, this story doesn't begin with a dramatic reveal. It starts quietly. Picture a packed aviation expo at Healy, Russia, 2019. Massive helicopters everywhere, loud engines. Big brands are showing off machines built for power and presence. The kind of place where everything screams for attention. And then, there's this one machine that doesn't. The Zephyr. Small, compact, almost tucked away like it doesn't belong in the same arena. But the moment you look at it, something feels different. It's not trying to look aggressive. It's not bulky. Instead, it's smooth, clean, almost too perfect, like it came out of a design studio rather than a factory floor. There's a subtle elegance to it, that quiet confidence you usually associate with Italian design. And honestly, that's when it hits you. This isn't just another helicopter, it's something else entirely. Have you ever seen a machine that doesn't try hard to impress, but still grabs all your attention? That was the Zephyr. The company behind this futuristic helicopter didn't even start in aviation. CTY Aerospace began its journey back in 1955 in Italy, but not with aircraft, not even close. They were making components for textile and agricultural machinery. Simple, industrial beginnings. But over time, things started to shift. They expanded, slowly, carefully, moving into broader industrial sectors. By the 1970s, they were already working alongside energy and aviation companies, not as a headline name, but as a behind-the-scenes specialist. And that's where it gets interesting. They built a reputation on precision, metals, composites, even complex materials like titanium, the kind of work that requires patience and absolute accuracy. Their clients? Big players like Leonardo SPA and Piaggio Aerospace. So while others were chasing attention, CTY was quietly mastering the craft. Decades of what you could call silent expertise. And eventually, the question became inevitable. If you can build parts for aircraft, why not build the entire machine? That's how the Zephyr was born, not as an experiment, but as the result of years of experience finally coming together. And here's where the real strategy kicks in. CTY Aerospace didn't walk into aviation trying to fight giants head-on. That would have been a losing battle from day one. Think about companies like Airbus Helicopters or Leonardo SPA. Massive budgets, decades of dominance, global presence. Trying to compete directly? That's not bold, that's reckless. So CTY did something smarter. They went small. The ultralight helicopter market. Lower costs, more flexibility, less regulatory pressure. And most importantly, a space where innovation isn't buried under layers of tradition. This is where private pilots, flight schools, and enthusiasts live. People who want access to flying without the complexity and cost of full-scale helicopters. And that's a growing space. Instead of building something massive, CTY focused on building something smarter. A platform where they could experiment, test ideas, push boundaries without being boxed in, and honestly, that freedom shows. Because the Zephyr isn't trying to be the biggest helicopter in the sky, it's trying to be the smartest. Now this part really defines the Zephyr. At first glance, it looks simple, almost too simple. But that simplicity? It's intentional. The Zephyr follows a classic helicopter layout. Nothing radically unfamiliar there. But every single element has been refined, stripped down, and optimized. No excess. No unnecessary bulk. Everything serves a purpose. And that's not just design, it's philosophy. Weight reduction is a huge focus, because in aviation, every kilogram matters. Less weight means better efficiency, better performance, and often better safety. So instead of adding more, they removed more. Simplified structures, cleaner lines, smarter engineering choices. And here's the key idea driving all of it. Every component has a reason to exist. If it doesn't add value, it doesn't stay. That kind of thinking creates something interesting. A machine that feels intuitive, balanced, almost natural in how it comes together. It's minimalism, but not in a cut corners way. It's minimalism backed by engineering intelligence. And honestly, that's rare, because most machines try to impress by adding more. The Zephyr impresses by doing more, with less. And when you actually look at the numbers, it gets even more interesting. The Zephyr measures 6.8 meters long, 1.6 meters wide, and about 2 meters tall, compact, yet perfectly balanced. It doesn't feel bulky or intimidating. Instead, it looks agile, precise, almost built for movement rather than raw power. That alone changes how you perceive it. Then comes the rotor system. 2 composite blades spanning 7.6 meters, simple but highly effective. Everything is exposed, letting you see the mechanics in motion, which is rare and oddly captivating. Even the tail rotor follows the same minimal approach. And just behind the cockpit, a 320-liter compartment doubles as a fuel tank, extending range without adding complexity. Smart, practical, and purpose-driven. That's the Zephyr. Now step inside, and the vibe completely shifts. This doesn't feel like a typical helicopter cabin. It feels closer to sitting inside a boutique Italian sports car. 2 seats, compact layout. But the moment you're in, it doesn't feel tight. That's where the design really shines. Italian styling is everywhere. Smooth curves, premium materials, leather finishes. Nothing feels cheap or rushed. Every surface has an intention behind it. And then there's the canopy. A wide, glass bubble wraps around the cockpit, flooding it with natural light. Visibility is incredible. Almost nothing blocks your view. You're not just sitting in a machine. You're surrounded by the sky. And somehow, even with just 134 centimeters of width, it feels open. That illusion of space? That's design doing its job perfectly. It's comfortable, it's clean, and honestly, it makes flying feel less mechanical and more like an experience. But here's where things get even more practical. The cockpit isn't trying to overwhelm you. It's a mix of digital displays and classic analog gauges, giving you the best of both worlds. Modern information, but still familiar to pilots who trust traditional instruments. And then there's automation. Engine controls are partially automated, which takes a lot of pressure off the pilot. You're not constantly managing every tiny detail. Everything is placed exactly where you'd expect it. Switches, levers, pedals, it all feels natural. Even better? Dual controls. Both pilot and co-pilot can take over when needed. So whether you're experienced or just getting started, it feels approachable. Simple, but precise. And this is where it all comes together. The Zephyr isn't just designed to fly, it's designed to make flying easier. Pilot workload is reduced significantly. Less stress, fewer constant adjustments, more focus on the experience. Handling is expected to be smooth and predictable. No sudden surprises, no fighting the machine mid-air. And comfort hasn't been ignored either. Energy-absorbing seats help soften the impact of turbulence or harder landings. It's a small touch, but it matters when you're up there. Everything about this helicopter points to one idea. If flying feels easier, it becomes safer. Less pressure on the pilot means better decisions, better control, and a more relaxed experience overall. Now, this is the moment that changes everything. Right above the main rotor sits something you rarely see on a helicopter: a parachute system. Not decorative, not experimental. A fully functional safety feature developed alongside German engineers. And it's built for the worst-case scenarios. Engine failure, loss of control, even failed auto-rotation. Situations that normally leave almost no margin for error. But here, you pull a lever, and the parachute deploys. It stabilizes the entire helicopter and brings it under control. Sounds unreal, right? But it's been tested. In 2018, the Zephyr was lifted to about 300 meters, then accelerated to 30 knots, and then engine cut. Complete failure. The parachute deployed, and the helicopter descended at around 7.5 meters per second. That's roughly 27 kilometers per hour. Hard landing? Maybe, but survivable. Even more impressive, the helicopter itself remained reusable after touchdown. That's not just safety. That's a complete shift in how helicopters deal with emergencies. For the first time, there's a real backup system that doesn't rely entirely on pilot skill. And honestly, that's why everyone's paying attention. And here's where the Zephyr starts thinking like a supercar. Weight isn't just a factor here, it's the obsession. The structure leans heavily on composite materials, cutting down mass wherever possible while keeping strength intact. Metal? Used only where necessary. Even the landing gear is crafted from composites, shaving off extra kilos without sacrificing durability. And then you notice the exterior. Smooth, seamless, no visible rivets, no rough joints, just clean surfaces flowing from one section to another. It almost looks too perfect. But that's intentional, because the philosophy driving all of this is simple. Every gram matters. Less weight means better efficiency, sharper performance, and ultimately, a safer machine in the air. Now here's a bold move that really sets it apart. Instead of sticking with traditional piston engines, the Zephyr goes with the PBS-TS 100 turboshaft engine. And this thing is surprisingly powerful. It delivers around 141 horsepower in normal operation, but can push up to 241 horsepower when needed. All of that from an engine weighing just about 60 kilograms. That's incredibly light for what it offers. The benefits are obvious: compact size, better weight distribution, and more room inside the aircraft for things like storage. But it's not perfect. Fuel consumption is higher, and the cost goes up too. That's the trade-off. Still, the payoff is worth it. Compared to piston engines, this setup delivers quicker response, smoother performance, and better overall efficiency for an ultralight platform. It's not the safe choice, it's the smart one. So what can this machine actually do? And honestly, it holds its own. The Zephyr cruises comfortably at around 161 kilometers per hour, with a top speed reaching up to 189 kilometers per hour. That's solid for something in the ultralight category. It can hover at altitudes of up to 4,000 meters, giving pilots flexibility across different environments. Range? Over 300 kilometers. Flight time? Just over 2 hours. That's more than enough for recreational flying, short trips, or training sessions. But here's the honest part. These numbers are still being refined. It's a developing aircraft, and real-world performance will evolve as production models improve. Still, even at this stage, it's impressive. But performance alone isn't enough. It has to be approved. The Zephyr has been moving toward certification in Europe, aiming to meet standards set by authorities like the German Ultralight Aviation Authority. And that's a big step, because once certified, it moves from prototype to something pilots can actually own and operate legally. But CTY Aerospace isn't thinking small here. They're already looking beyond Europe. Expansion plans include entering the Russian market through partnerships connected to events like HeliRussia and distribution channels such as Helactica. And it's not just about selling helicopters. They're building support systems, training programs, maintenance services, and customization options. Because selling the machine is one thing, supporting the pilot is what really builds a market. Now let's talk numbers. The Zephyr is expected to cost around $500,000. And yeah, that's not cheap. But in the world of helicopters, it's actually competitive. This isn't aimed at commercial fleets or massive operations. It's built for private owners, aviation enthusiasts, and training pilots who want something different, something smarter. What you're paying for isn't just the machine. It's the innovation, the safety features, and that unique design philosophy. It's a premium product, no doubt. But for early adopters, it's also a chance to be part of something new. And this is where everything comes together. The Zephyr isn't just another ultralight helicopter. It's the first to truly integrate a working parachute system as a core safety feature. Not as a backup idea, but as a real solution. That alone shifts the conversation. Because aviation has always been about managing risk, the Zephyr starts thinking differently. What if you design for survivability instead? Compact, lightweight, yet powerful. It proves you don't need size to deliver safety. And that's the bigger picture here. This isn't just a new helicopter. It's a new way of thinking about flight itself. The Zephyr isn't just changing helicopters, it's changing how we trust them. A future where flying feels safer isn't far away anymore. And if this is just the beginning, imagine what comes next. So, what do you think? Would you fly in one? Let me know, and don't forget to subscribe.